All right, guys, Beats Studio Pros. We've had our ups, we've had our downs. I'm gonna tell you what I think about it. Let's get into the video. So with using these for a week, I will say having the case for these headphones specifically has been pretty clutch. I know I said having the aux cord or the 3.5mm jack was cool and all, but I have an iPhone and I have Bluetooth on my laptop, so I didn't touch it. And I've had other headphones that have had it and I honestly don't use it that often, but I guess it's nice to have. So I won't knock them for that, but realistically, I'm not gonna use the cord. Now, these headphones have a lot of competitors in the price range and right around the price range. If you know what I'm talking about, I'm talking about Apple AirPods Maxes. I think they're still good headphones. I just don't know if they're good enough for that price range. When you hold them, there's a little bit of creaking. I'm gonna be quiet for 1 second, listen. For me, paying even $350 for a pair of headphones that creak, it's kind of a bad feeling. Another thing is they are nice when they fold. I can't knock them for folding because I wish the AirPod Maxes folded up a little bit, and other headphones, the Bose, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of headphones that don't fold at the moment for whatever reason. I guess people are against folding. I do like that these fold, but even when they fold, it does not give me the satisfaction of a quality headphone. Like it literally sounds like plastic is snapping. Like, listen to this. Now keep in mind, as I'm looking at it, it seems like the 2 points of contact are metal. So I'm not sure why it sounds like it's just plastic on plastic, but the 2 points of contact are metal. So even with it not sounding solid, I think they'll last. Since we're talking about the build quality already, let's continue down the headphones. We have the buttons, right? I'm not a fan. I do like the idea of the buttons being here. I am a fan of that, but the actual quality of them, especially when you're wearing them, you just have to put them on and you have to click the buttons. You can hear it in your ear how like it's just plastic on plastic. It just sounds like plastic on plastic. Obviously these are plastic, but you don't want them to sound like that cheap plastic that, a cheaper headphone would sound like. These are still $350. They're not cheap headphones by any means. Like these are still considered premium headphones. I will say once you start to wear them, they're relatively comfortable. Like you're not gonna be sitting here thinking that they're the most uncomfortable headphones, but I will keep comparing it. And if you guys wanna see a whole comparison real quick, hit that card. That's a whole comparison video on the AirPod Maxes and the Studio Beats Pros, but I'm gonna try not to compare them as much, so you guys can go watch that video and get the full details there. These headphones, I will say, are not the most comfortable, but they're not horrible. They're pretty soft as far as where the ear cushions are. I just wish that the headband would be a little bit softer. It feels pretty rough, especially if you like your headphones a little more snug and like tighter to your head. You're gonna feel that band. But there is some positives to the materials that they use, so I will give them credit on that. If you're using these to work out, I will say it would be easy to wipe these off since the top is only rubber and then this is like a fake leatherette material. It seems like it wouldn't be that bad to work out in. They're not meant for working out, keep in mind, but I think you can get away with it. Now the sound quality of these headphones, they're Beats, right? Ever since the beginning of time, Beats have been super bass heavy. That's where these take a turn for the worse or maybe the better. There's not a lot of bass, there's just enough, but the highs are high, I can't lie. Like you can hear the details in these headphones and they're not that bassy. Sometimes I honestly wish that they're a little bit louder. I will admit, I do like listening to music a little loud sometimes, especially when you're getting a lift in. You need that extra motivation in your ears, right? I wish they could get a little bit louder, but other than that, I think they're pretty solid as far as sound quality. One thing that did surprise me about the Beats Studio Pros is the battery life. I can't lie, when I saw that these had 40 hours of battery life, it kind of shocked me. I will say you have to be, listening to music a little bit lower, maybe not using the noise transparency or noise cancellation as much, but the fact that you can even get 40 hours out of this is pretty crazy. Now the noise cancellation on these is actually pretty solid. It's definitely not as good as other noise cancellation headphones that I've heard, but it's still pretty solid, especially if you have your music at least halfway. You're not gonna be able to hear anything. So I think noise cancellation on these is pretty good. Now the transparency mode on these is a little bit different. I honestly am not that much of a fan. It does work, but it just sounds like a low quality phone call, if that makes sense. Like even when you're speaking, it sounds just like a low quality phone call, and it's just, for me, it's just not it. I would rather just take them off my head altogether instead of using the transparency mode. And for that reason, I would say it's almost not usable. Now with Apple owning Beats, you would think that there's more compatibility when it comes to these and owning an iPhone. And unfortunately there's not, because they didn't add the H2 or H1 chip from Apple. I think they're trying to target that Android audience just a little bit and not make these only Apple user headphones. With not having that chip, it's kind of unfortunate because it's a little bit inconvenient coming from Apple products, like taking them off and the music stopping instantly and having your headphones switch from device to device. Me personally, I have a MacBook Pro, an iPad, and an iPhone, and with the AirPod Maxes, it switches in between devices pretty seamlessly. With these, I have to disconnect from one device to connect to another device, and to connect to another device, I have to turn it off, and it's a process that is kind of irritating, I can't lie. And again, at this price point, it's one of those things where like you're paying $350 for a lot of inconvenience. Not to say they're not good headphones, but it's those small things from Apple that just make life a little bit easier. So it comes down to the big question, are these worth it? I think for the right user, Android user, they are. For an Apple user, I honestly don't think that these are worth it. The AirPod Maxes, I know I keep bringing them up, and it's just such a valid argument, especially now that the AirPod Maxes almost everywhere are on sale for like $100 off. You're only paying about $100 more for AirPod Maxes versus these, and I think it's worth the money. The build quality is better, the sound quality is better, the noise cancellation is better, the transparency mode is better. Everything is honestly better, except that these are folding and they come with the case, but I don't think them being foldable and coming with the case kind of makes up for everything else. So personally, I think these are not worth it. And it hurts me to say that, it does, because I like to put people on, but I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I don't think these are worth it for the price point, unless you're an Android user. I think these are great headphones, and they would work well for you, just because I don't think there's anything much better on the Android side as far as the compatibility and like the ecosystem that Apple has with their headphones. So these for Android users, sir, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Am I tripping? Am I tripping on these? Are they good headphones, or do you guys agree that the AirPod Maxes would honestly just be a better fit? Peace.